By this point, you might be wondering why I've done nothing but make goofy comments at the movie's expense. Well, it turns out that the bots are extremely strict about this movie, and of course you can understand why. One group that is extremely invested in zero-tolerance IP protection is, of course, Barbarians. See, part 1 of this had actually been over 15 minutes in length because I got into a whole bunch of the serious discussion about it. But if you make the video too long, apparently it gets really strict as far as the censorship goes. So I had to chop it down from 15 minutes to 10 minutes. And a clean 5-minute break was, of course, all of the serious material I had to say, which means you've got kind of the Atkins version of it. It's nothing but fat. So yeah, this trio of videos that I'm putting out here is just me in general farting around. And then I take all of the serious things I had to say about this movie, which is actually a lot more than you might think, and putting it in its own separate video. Yeah. Everyone worries about AI taking away jobs. Trust me, I have AI working extremely hard to give me more work. Anyway, the sacrifices dropped into the pit and begin shrieking because, of course, she's not being eaten alive by a giant snake. Everyone else freaks out. It's extremely upsetting for any congregation when someone shows up and kills your god. Valeria covers their escape by taking out the archers, and the trio are soon in a tavern to enjoy the spoils of theft. Conan even gives her the eye of the snake, but not until after he's rubbed the big round thing all over her hand and then gently putting it in her palm and closing it to make clear what he expects her to do later. I mean, for Christ's sakes, it's called the eye of the snake. Could it be any more obvious? So after a great deal of boning, take my word for it, our narrator announces,
"Wealth can be wonderful. But you know, success can test one's mettle as surely as the strongest adversary."
I like to think of Conan the Barbarian as a mashup of Temple of Doom, Spartacus, and The Great Gatsby. While Conan catches up on his sleep, some bad guys show up who take them to the hall of King Osric.
"Once a powerful Northman like my lord, but now old and sodded."
No need to make this personal, Mako. The king is none other than the legendary Swedish actor Max von Sydow, who has been in everything from The Seventh Seal to Flash Gordon to Skyrim. They claim that Subutai was killed by lions, but when he's tossed in,
"The lions ate him." Ha 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 ha.
way to blow our cover, asshole. The king rages at them for the crime of causing Doom's representative to come before him and demand that this whole thing be sorted out. The guy is making demands of the king himself. Well, naturally, the king is quite happy to learn that someone finally stood up to Doom and his damn snake cultists, even if they are coming around barking orders at him over it.
This one was thrust into a father's heart by his very son.
Not the family values we support around here. He's also upset that his own daughter has fallen in with these snake-worshipping assholes and is heading off to the east to join with Doom himself. So, the king heaps gems upon the trio to go after her and bring her back.
There comes a time, thief, when the jewels cease to sparkle, when the gold loses its luster, when the throne room becomes a prison.
I hear you, but they make pills for that now. Valeria isn't so sure about this. Thulsa Doom has the power to summon demons, lives in an impenetrable fortress, and has thousands of followers to fight them. An entire legion of forces. Why, I would go so far as to say it's a legion of doom. She's convinced that they should double-cross the king and just run away with the jewels. Let the two of them continue with their mad boning rather than risk their lives against the cultist asshole. But Conan hasn't forgotten that this guy slaughtered his people, murdered his parents, and made him a slave. And that's not the kind of thing he's just going to dismiss as bygones. So Conan is on the trail of Doom by following the children of Doom, who, of course, are hippies. From there, Conan heads to some ruins where the skeletons of men, still clad in armor, are at the ready, as if to do battle again. I really wish I could have gotten this up on Halloween. And it's just past here, at the halfway point of the film, that Mako finally shows up.
I'm a wizard, mind you.
I have a feeling I'm getting a glimpse of myself when I go senile, out on the lawn in front of my house. I'm a wizard, mind you, and my magic only works when I'm naked.
Care for these places?
I sing to them.
If you like pina coladas. Being in the shadow of all those titans and great kings, nobody bothers him here, not even Doom. Well, Conan decides to try slipping inside, so he leaves his sword and his horse and takes off with a camel and some flowers in the hopes of passing for a hippie. So he makes his way to the camp. Man, that camel is a great special effect. It's a pity you can see the strings. He arrives at the camp near Thulsa Doom's mountain, and as he waits in the shadow of Mount Doom, a procession of holy people arrives, and everyone rushes to see them in the hopes of joining in. And this apparently involves the ancient rite of the t-shirt cannon. Conan needs one, but he has a plan of drawing in a priest.
Afraid to bear yourself? Why? You're so big and so well grown. You should be proud of your body.
Even Thulsa Doom's cult needs altar boys. After kicking the guy's ass, Conan takes his clothes and returns, hoping to pass for one of them. He seems to be doing well, and keeps showing the green ornament he stole from the temple as a way of admittance. But a priest guard in a mask takes it from him and sends him up there. Weird, this is just like a quest item in a video game. Thulsa Doom then makes an appearance.
I have watched you for 1,000 years. I have watched you.
Mostly while you were on the toilet. Well, the jig is up. Doom's henchmen have been wandering around, and it looks like he gave himself away. Possibly because he's not built like someone who picks flowers all day. After roughing him up for a while, Thulsa Doom finally comes in to ask what happened to the serpent's eye. He heard Conan gave it to a girl and presumes it was either in payment for sex or to impress her into a one-night stand, which is probably splitting hairs. He grumbles at what Conan did at his temple, especially killing the snake.
You killed my snake. Thorgrim is beside himself with grief.
Oh, yeah, boss, grief over the death. And not because I had to haul a half a ton of dead snake out of a pit. Well, Conan shoots back about murdering his parents and slaughtering his people. Oh, and stealing his father's sword. This is what taps Doom on the shoulder and says, "Oh, yeah, that. Back in the day, I did sort of have a hankering for steel and made a bit of trouble getting my hands on it. Frivolity of youth." But he does know the answer to the riddle of steel.
Steel isn't strong, boy. Flesh is stronger.
Why don't you give me a sword and we'll test that? To demonstrate what he means, though, Thulsa Doom recreates a famous, and likely apocryphal, tale about the loyal killers of the so-called Old Man of the Mountain during the time of the Crusades. These guys were supposed to get high on hashish and were called hashashin, from which we get the word assassin, allegedly. The legend is that the minions were so loyal that the Old Man of the Mountain's command, they were prepared to jump off the castle wall to their deaths, just because he told them to. Terry Jones makes mention of this, although mostly because he found it creepy that after doing the Kamikaze Highlanders gag for Monty Python, that someone might have actually done that for real. Anyway, point is, Thulsa Doom is demonstrating the same control as he gets this woman to step off the ledge into her death, just to prove that he can. I mean, that's the intention of it. Personally, I like to think that he was so high on his own shit, he intended to make her fly, and he's just really good at rallying before he goes back to his room to figure out where he forgot to carry the one.
Look at the strength of your body, the desire in your heart. I gave you this.
See, he's a master of spin.
Crucify him.
Oh, he ripped that idea off too. Although, what do you expect from a guy who, of all the names he could pick, chose Doom?